Have you ever stopped to think about what your digital life is actually costing the planet? I mean, beyond your electricity bill. Turns out there's this hidden currency we're all spending every single time we scroll, stream, or create. And that currency is water. A lot of water. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain on that hidden cost. So check this out. It all starts with a story that gets right to the heart of the matter. A teacher's students are all fired up, ready to boycott AI because of its environmental impact, which, is a fair concern. But then the teacher hits them with this brilliant question. How much time did you spend on TikTok yesterday? Suddenly it gets real quiet. And that right there is the perfect setup for our big question. So are they right? Should we be pointing the finger just at AI? Is it really the biggest water hog in our digital world? Or is the truth a little more complicated? Well, that's what we're here to figure out. We're going to put the numbers side by side so you can see the whole picture for yourself. Okay, before we jump into the really juicy numbers, we've got to get on the same page about two really important ideas. We need to understand the difference between direct water and indirect water. Let's break it down. First up, we have direct water. Now, this one's pretty easy to picture. Think about those massive, windowless buildings that basically are the internet, data centers. They are packed to the gills with powerful servers that get incredibly hot. So direct water is the water they use right there, on site, in these giant cooling systems to literally keep the whole operation from melting down. But here's the sneaky part of the equation. Indirect water. This is all the water that's used somewhere else, like at a power plant, to generate the enormous amount of electricity needed to run those data centers and to power the device you're watching this on right now. It's the invisible cost, Every single watt of power has its own water footprint. All right, now that we've got that sorted, direct and indirect, let's get to the main event. We are going to look at the water footprint of some of the things you probably do every single day. And I got to tell you, some of these numbers might just blow your mind. Whoa, okay, this is where it gets really wild. Just look at this. 1 hour of scrolling on TikTok can use about 16 liters of water. That is more than double an hour of just chilling and watching Netflix. And what about console gaming? It's a tiny fraction of either one. Crazy, right? So what gives? Why is there such a huge difference? Well, it all comes down to the design of the app. With something like Netflix, you load one long video and you're pretty much set. But with TikTok, every single swipe, every scroll means the app is constantly working, loading and autoplaying a stream of brand new videos. That nonstop demand for data means the servers have to work harder, which means they use more energy. And, you guessed it, that means they use way more water. Okay, now let's circle back to AI, because this is where things get really nuanced. If you're just using text prompts, asking it for homework help or to write an email, the water use is teeny tiny. We're talking about a few tablespoons for 100 questions. But the moment you start generating images, that's a whole different story. Creating just 10 AI images can chug anywhere from 20 to 50 liters of water. But here's the real kicker with AI. Its biggest water impact isn't in our daily use. It's in the training. To train a massive model like GPT-3, just one single time is estimated to have used a jaw-dropping 3 million liters of water. That is a massive, one-time upfront cost before you ever type a single thing into the chat box. And to put that number into perspective for you, 3 million liters is enough water to fill an entire backyard swimming pool. So while asking it for a recipe is pretty efficient, the process of teaching it that recipe in the first place was incredibly thirsty. So after hearing all that, you might be asking yourself, what's the single biggest change I can make? Well, it's probably not what you think. It has nothing to do with how you use your apps. It's all about the device right there in your hand. Simply keeping your phone for 1 extra year instead of upgrading saves an estimated 4,250 liters of water. That one single action dwarfs almost any other habit you could change. So let's zoom out for a second, away from our personal choices, and look at the bigger systems at play. Because really, this is about way more than just you and your phone. It's about corporate transparency and the entire tech infrastructure. And here is a major problem. When tech companies report on their environmental impact, they often only tell you about their direct water use. Remember, the water for cooling their own buildings.
they very often leave out that much larger indirect water footprint from the electricity they pull off the grid. It makes their numbers look fantastic, but it's hiding the full story.
We also have to talk about cryptocurrency. Running a typical Bitcoin mining setup at home for just 1 hour can consume around 45 liters of water. And that's almost entirely because of the massive amount of electricity it needs.
And to put that into perspective for you, 1 hour of crypto mining uses 650 times more water than using AI to help you with your homework. It is in a completely different league of consumption, not even the same sport. And think about this. Where do these massive data centers and crypto farms actually get built? Well, they often target specific communities, usually in places that offer up cheaper land, lower power prices, and big tax breaks. And this can put a huge strain on local water resources, often without even delivering the long-term jobs that were promised to the community. Okay, I know, that's a lot of data, and it can feel a bit overwhelming. But look, the goal here isn't to make you feel bad. It's about empowerment. Knowing this stuff lets us all make smarter choices. So let's look at some clear, simple things you can actually do. So what's the game plan? First, just be a bit more mindful of that endless TikTok scroll. Second, stream smarter. Choose HD instead of 4K. You probably won't notice a difference on a smaller screen. Third, and this is the big one, keep your phone longer. 4, use AI wisely. Stick to text instead of image generation when you can. 5, just stay away from crypto mining. And finally, number 6, and this is a big one, use your voice. Demand that these companies report their full water footprint, both direct and indirect. So that brings us all the way back to those students. It turns out the real answer isn't about boycotting one specific technology over another. The real power comes from understanding the hidden costs behind all of our digital choices, from the phone in our pocket to the apps we scroll through. The question isn't just about what the problem is, but what we're going to do about it. So, looking at this whole picture, what will you do differently?